All right, guys, we got a talking head video for you today. This one's kind of a big deal. Not gonna really be goofy and silly and stuff. This one's actually about trying to give you guys a heads up of some stuff that's going on with some vulnerabilities and to get you guys hopefully squared away so you're not caught up in the middle of what is being called the biggest breach and vulnerability in modern tech history. NZXT's build is a quick and easy way to get a new gaming computer, and right now they're proud to announce expansion and availability to Australia, the Netherlands, France, and Italy. Build a gaming PC on your budget using the built-in configurator and see exactly how your favorite games will perform. Want to build your own PC but still have the NZXT Peace of Mind warranty? Then the new BLD Build It Yourself kit has what you want. Buy it and build it yourself, and NZXT has you covered. To get started configuring or building your next gaming PC, visit the build link in the description below. Okay, so I'm talking about the Log4j vulnerability. If you guys haven't heard of that, then please pay attention. This is actually very important. And I'll give you guys a little bit of a explainer as to what the issue is and where it was discovered and what it is you can do to try and protect yourself. We live in the digital age. We are very used to this vulnerability and this bug and that bug. And I think a lot of us just go, yeah, whatever, and the billions of users there are in the world, what are the chances this is going to affect me? Well, considering this one's being called apocalyptic, now I think that might be a little bit extreme, and I think that might be headline grabbing and such for a lot of these articles that rely on your clicks and banner ads to make money. I think using the term apocalyptic is a little extreme, but I think this one is pretty big. So Log4j, it's a piece of free code. It's ubiquitous in that it is designed for anyone to be able to grab it and use it. Chunks of code like this are not uncommon. And it's designed to make things quick and easy for developers to be able to implement features into their software or their servers or whatever their service is, and not have to take time developing this stuff from scratch, where they can take this code and plug it in and you're up and running. It's kind of like how NVIDIA's got hair effects and all this other stuff that you could grab from the tool shop from NVIDIA and plug it into your games using NVIDIA's work, and then you get to benefit from it. Well, the same thing happens with development all the time. Tons of different pieces of code are designed to be grabbed, used straight out of the box, or modified to meet your needs. And the Log4j is based on Java. Now, Java runs like just about everything. I mean, everything uses Java in some form or another. And Log4j is a Java log. So when you have a service running, you have to have logs. Logs are extremely important for not only development, but QA, QC, quality assurance, quality testing, all that sort of stuff. The logs tell you everything. That's why you'll find all the time if you are trying to troubleshoot something, a driver crash or whatever, and you start talking to NVIDIA or whoever it is that may be helping you along the way, oftentimes they'll give you a piece of program to run, which is then starting a log, and then they'll tell you to make the problem happen, and they'll check the logs. The log will tell them everything. Now that's true for everything. Every game, every server, every service, your text messages, your phones, everything is being logged. Now that may not sound like, that's scary to people who are very security minded and privacy minded, but the scary aspect of this comes from the fact that the way Log4j works is to make sense of what that thing is that it's logging, it's got to categorize it, because logs are not just, in a chronological order, they're also categorized. This was a log of something that was executed. This is a log of something that was received, sent, blah, blah, blah. So you can kind of drill down through the menu system to figure out, where certain things are. To categorize it, Log4j is kind of dumb in the sense that it will just do whatever. It will log whatever. And to understand what it is that it's logging, if you were to say, write a piece of malicious code into the chat box in Minecraft, to log it, it would execute it. What's this? I don't know. Let's push start and see. And then it will execute the script or the code and log it. Well, you can see the vulnerability right there. That circumvents everything in terms of net security. And yes, I'm not using a hypothetical. That has been what's happening. This Log4j issue was discovered with Minecraft. But then once you discover the problem and you realize, oh crap, we're using that piece of software too, Google, Microsoft, IBM. In fact, there's a whole list of people here that have been using it. Oracle, that's a big one. Anything that's internet connected, like your TVs, your phones, your Xboxes, your PS5s, your computer games, anything that's connected essentially is being logged, and Log4j is being used just about everywhere. So if that doesn't tell you the scope of the effect of this, you can understand why as soon as this was discovered, by the time we knew about it publicly, obviously the developers across the world were working day and night to try and fix this. The problem is that is a monumental task, because if you just took the code and plugged it into your stuff, it's pretty serious to go through and try and figure out everywhere it's used and to try and close this back door or close this loophole and not break all your stuff in the meantime. You can also bet your ass that hackers and those that are would do bad stuff with this vulnerability have also been working around the clock to try and get this executed as many places as possible. In fact, some people on Twitter even were able to change their name on Twitter to like a piece of code by using this as a test. And that shows you even Twitter is using Log4j. So Log4j's vulnerability is a problem. So I mean, all hackers have to do is anywhere there's some place they can input something that needs to be logged is put whatever code in there that they want to try and get access to the heart of whatever system is they're trying to get into, and then hope that they can get as much information out of that before it's patched. It's pretty much the like worst case scenario you could possibly imagine in today's day and age when it comes to cybersecurity. To try and give you an idea of how open this is, imagine, like, we'll use our warehouse here as an example. We have a people door, which is a man door that you walk through, and a big giant 12-foot roll-up door, 12-foot by 15-foot roll-up door. It's the equivalent of locking the people door, but leaving the rolled-up door up and then leaving for the day and hoping nobody takes our stuff. That's essentially how bad this is, because of the fact that this allows them to circumvent any sort of measure, security measure that they have in place to try and protect their systems and their data. Like, for example, I guess Google has over 500 employees working 24 hours a day right now to try and get this loophole and this open exposure, or I guess this security breach fixed. It's funny because it doesn't even take a hacker hacking skills to get into whatever system they're trying to get into, because of the simple fact that analogy I just said, leaving the door rolled up, that's like walking into the warehouse and going, I did it. I hacked into the building. When all you did was walk in because they left the door open. And that's essentially what this is. And this kind of goes to show some of the problem with modern systems and development is, as these pieces of code are up there and free for the taking, with it they take any of the vulnerabilities that come along with it. And like Log4j, for instance, this Java goes back to like the 90s on when it started being used widely. And you can see now you've got 30 years worth of Java software out there, and who knows how many of it are using the Log4j, therefore having vulnerabilities to exploit, shows you that there is a serious issue right now at hand. So what does this mean for you though? This is the part that people care about. It's like, what does this mean for me? Well, right now you are a speck of sand on the beach in terms of your exposure. You're on the beach, that beach is affected, but whether or not you and your particular grain of sand is affected, it's going to depend on a lot of things. One, what is it that they got access to? Any service that they have access to that accepts payments or accepts passwords and that sort of stuff, that stuff is also encrypted separately. However, the first step of getting access to it is getting access to the encrypted data. That doesn't mean that that they immediately have access to it, but that's the first step. Second step is the companies obviously need to patch this. They need to fix this, and that's going to take some time. But in the meantime, any of these services that require an update to keep you safe means that if you're like me and you have auto updates pretty much turned off on everything, I'm one of those people that I don't like to have things update without me knowing. I want to read the patch notes. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's the kind of person that I am. I don't usually update Windows when it's available right away, or my phone's operating system, or my watch, or any of that sort of stuff. But the problem is that because this sort of stuff is both server-side and client-side in terms of the effect, it means that you're going to have to turn auto updates on essentially everything. And the reason for that is you don't know what's affected. Right now, you can pretty much assume everything is affected with the Log4j exploit. And that's going to be the best way to move forward with this. Hopefully, people that are sending out updates for their software are going to mention that this is security and vulnerability fixes. They may not name Log4j specifically, but the best thing to do right now is going to be keep auto updates on I find auto updates extremely intrusive and annoying, but I'm just like you, I'm gonna have to bear it to try and get this fixed and the exploit closed on all my devices. Now this goes for everything: TVs, consoles, computers, watches, phones, cars, everything that has any sort of software connectability with the cloud is potentially affected. So like I said, not a fun video, but one that we had to talk about here. As a user, with the exception of letting your stuff update, there's really nothing you can do. The burden of liability for this falls entirely on the developers. And I hope that development companies like Google, Microsoft, everybody have learned their lesson with this. Just don't take code and just plug it in, assuming everything works and is fine. Code like that is designed to be taken and then manipulated and changed to work within your particular piece of software. It's not designed to just be like, well, I'm taking this one and throwing it in my system and everything should be fine. This really falls on developers being lazy and not really modifying the code specifically to meet their needs. It's like clay. It may have a basic shape, but you're supposed to shape it to be exactly what you need. And the security aspects of it also fall on you. And having logs run code is crazy. That just shows you how simple the world's biggest vulnerability was for hackers. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. If you're a developer that's dealing with Log4j, maybe comment down below what it is that you guys are doing to try and fix this, and maybe I'll pin and heart some comments here so people can see, because I'm genuinely curious. Is this being blown out of proportion by the media, at least the media reporting it, or is this really as big of a deal as it's made out to be? For me personally, based on what I saw when I looked into the Minecraft issue and the Twitter thing, by simply writing code and hitting enter and having it executed on the server, it seems like a pretty big deal. I mean, that's like some, Hackers the movie kind of stuff. Hack the planet. Sounds very much like that to me. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.